Okay, I have a 4-page book. This is page one. And basically, I'm going to elaborate on do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and also loving God with all of your being and how it equals the Royal African Falcon top martial arts order that cannot continue after I'm gone, and why it's stupid to play stupid about that. This is page one, the introduction. The essential alpha essence to sense the presence of God. Even before the Enlightenment era, scientists have conspired to cheat the Royal African Falcon top martial arts order for the governing class. The cross is said to symbolize the crossroads. The malnutrition Jesus is a symbol of the persecuted top martial artist and anyone who would choose his path, especially on the cross. Scientists basically never have a good martial sense for the spirit, and they rely on logic within the boundaries of white supremacy and things of that nature. I do not know of a single case of them putting God first, and in their own Western culture, in the movies, we see people choosing to fight to the death. To make a long story short, they are evil, and the movie scenes are superimposed on a romantic and worthy death. This is part of why they sink to the despicable and unforgivable level of changing my voice and fuming and poisoning me. Yes, scientists are some of the most disgraced people in human history. What did they use their science for over the years, especially the last 200 years or so? Absolutely, absolutely disgraceful. To make a long story short, they are evil, and the movie scenes are superimposed on a romantic and worthy death. The essential alpha essence to sense the presence of God is only in the top martial arts me and those who obey God through me. One can tell by my motives, heart, goals, intentions, and history that I only intend to do what is right. So when you're not doing what's right, you don't think straight. It reflects that you're not thinking straight, and it continues the repetition of not thinking straight. This is overkill by the obvious fact that I reached out to attractive women with an argument of moral precision, and they do not answer because they are evil. They are all evil. Yet I try anyway. Drug addicts, rich scum, wife beaters, and all sorts of horrible people get attractive females. So why do they shun me? All this points right to me as God's representative. My top martial arts challenge and the obvious fact that my characteristics, including height and intensity before sabotage, etc., made it so the logical assumption to the new guy is that I am the top martial arts ever possible, and anyone with sense knows for sure that I am. Tech, breeding, cheating, and generational ill-gotten gain rule out everyone else. How can a scientist, a rocker, a nerd, a jock, a cop, a soldier, a common martial arts, a hippie, or anyone else claim to be God's chosen leader? Even in their Bible. In John 10, it is clear that Jesus' argument to the Jews was that he is God's son as he was set apart. Different. Set apart. Stands out. As you can see, that they're changing my voice and provoking me, making it so I sound annoying and it's hard to listen to. That's what happens when you're a white, racist, horrible, horrible group of people. Scum, racist Jews, racist LGBT, cowardly, token minorities, what have you, is you resort to that stuff. So know that if you're that type of person, don't have any kids. The disgrace is extreme. It's impossible to miss. Know that. All right. Where was I here? In Exodus 15:3, it says, the Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name. If scientists have nothing to hide, why do they not tell the truth about this and explain how Baal, Dagon, Zeus, Set, Kali, and basically all the main deities that people worship were war gods? And the fact that mythology is full of single combat arguments. Okay? Achilles fighting in single combat. I want to say it was Hector. It's been a while since I got over that. David and Goliath. Okay? Horus and Set. And there's no shortage of these ideas. Okay. Where was I here? Of course, Hercules and his 12 labors, and facing the Hydra and, some kind of bull and so on, and a lion and, what have you, okay? Where were we here? Theseus and the Minotaur. All right. If scientists have, okay. Obviously, they are just snakes that seek to snake me like everyone else. So as you can see now, to trust science is to use a scientific methodology to see that you can't rely on them for divine leadership. And all cultures that the world allows just lie about the relevance of martial arts and spirituality and religion while they cheat me. So it doesn't take much research, much scientific research to come to the conclusion that scientists do not make good leaders. They do not have a certain martial presence of mind. They don't have a certain divine kind of sense of things. They don't have a good sense of how to govern. Well, the governing class and the scientists both are thistles. You don't pick figs from thistles. All right. Okay, so again, to use a scientific methodology, you see that you can't. Okay, obviously they are just snakes that seek to snake me like everyone else. So as you can see now, to trust science, to use a scientific methodology to see that you can't rely on them for divine leadership. And all cultures that the world allows just lie about the relevance of martial arts and spirituality and religion while they cheat me. And I'm not talking about the cowardly bootlicking people you see on YouTube who are famous with all their millions of views and all their, their students standing in the background. These are just bootlicking cowards that complete cowards have allowed to have a certain following. Okay, it is sickening. They are betas, they are cowards, they wouldn't dream of living righteousness for a split second. A complete disgrace, complete disgrace. Thank goodness I'm not them. All right. Even the word spirit is a play on words for spear it. We see that Horus has been depicted with a spear, and there are many other images of ideas people worship with spears. There is the spear of destiny and others that are said to be sacred. Jesus is said to have been speared and so on. One becomes less than a ditzy sex worker trying to sell worthless so-called spiritual trinkets when they claim that they are the authority on spiritual matters and that I am not. Okay, if you don't understand why I'm right about that, start this video over. Put on a volume that you find my voice more tolerable, and listen and listen carefully. I also should have put this on the screen. Okay, you might just want to read this off the screen. All right. Where are we here? At this point, even a child should be able to tell you that I am God's representative, and the reason why people shun me, especially attractive women, is that they are childish, shallow, evil, and bred wrong. So how great is the gap between me and them? The answer must be that the gap is infinitely great. God is infinitely greater than those going to the dust, and I am God's last King of Kings in the flesh. So when you measure my worth, you must include the true spirit of God in the top martial artist ever. We also see the phrase is good guy, and he is better. Testify that they who are more righteous are above they who are not. So who's a better candidate, a better husband, a better date, and so on. The Bible also says that the one who is from above, that is the realm of righteousness, the realm of God, is above all. This intro was needed to establish my spiritual authority and to make it clear that people are dumb as dogs when they do not obey God through me. I did not come for the dogs or their offspring. What does the sky show us about God? The sun's paths, the animal paths in nature, cliffs, mountains, beaches, falcons, leopards, rabbits, lions. What do they show us about martial arts and natural traits in people? Parrots are placed by God to show us that nature is communicating to mankind. It's trying to communicate. Okay, the parrot's like, see the patterns in nature? See the sky? What is it? What is the sun telling you? Don't date that bitch ass beta? Don't date that pussy? Choose the top martial artist instead? But they do not get it. The sky corrects them. The parrots correct them. The leopard and the falcon and the rabbit and the lion correct them. But they're like, I don't get it! What does that tell you? They seek to imitate speech which is seen as an attempt to communicate to other animals in a specific way. This causes the deep person to see it as evidence of God, seeking for people to use their head to see what he is saying. Geese migrate instinctually, which also gives us a clue as to what God is trying to tell us to do. God set me apart to lead the way. And when one considers the deeper implications of the lead hand, quote unquote, in sparring, and why people call the hand of God, call it the hand of God, that we start to see it come together more. God put martial power into the top martial artists to point the way for all mankind, and only a fool ignores it. So when we see a period emerge when they're like, I don't want to do what he says, and they seem like betas and jocks and common cops and military fools that just follow orders, and a sort of groupies, rock groupies, rap groupies, when we see idiots like, I don't want to follow them, it's a pretty clear-cut pattern of nature that the world is doomed at that point. Like, I got to explain this. God put martial power. Okay, I went over that. God formed eyes and made the sun and moon and certain private parts resemble them to make it clear to they who are mature enough to learn from the patterns. Maturity is a key martial arts principle, and without it and discipline, one does not get very far. Truly, I despise people who persecute me while I am trying to explain this, and scientists in an extreme state of nerdy cowardice do not rally to me, and many of them are rich and have many resources that would have helped. So you look at the Masons, you look at the Church and the Lucifer telescope in the Vatican. It doesn't take a genius to see scientists are using psychology and substances and everything they can on behalf of the governing class to confuse things, so that's why I had to specifically rule them out beyond a reasonable doubt, as well as the governing class. Okay, and no one else... everyone else is also easy to rule out, so it clearly proves that I'm set apart as the spiritual authority. Okay. So, as I am even interrupted now, I will again remind you, no one is worthy to lead but me, and if one does not want to burn in hell with their offspring in the afterlife, then they must obey me before I die. This is justice. I do not believe anyone will obey God through me, even though they have no viable counter, and obviously in a timely fashion. People are evil and radically selfish. No belief in God is needed to rally and obey the principles of morality through me. Just being a decent human with basic understanding of morality or better is all that is needed. Truly, the scientists cannot claim that nature puts them above everyone else, nor can the spoiled governing class. Only I can. I am God's chosen son. I am.